RadNet, a stronger and more connected community. It's a vision for a better future.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. This is our annual Haimster show. Corey Haim's birthday is coming up, and we figured every single year on his birthday, we want to try to do something Corey related. Last year, we had a little bit of a guest panel, and we talked about all of Corey's 80s movies, a little filmography about that, and then we did a ranking at the end. So what a better way to kind of continue that is with tonight doing it for the 90s. And the funny thing about this is when it comes to Corey in the 80s, that's what everybody knows. Everybody knows those 80s movies, The Lost Boys and Lucas and License to Drive. Those are the ones that he's known for. But with the 90s, it's very different. The 90s is not a time where a lot of people talk about Corey Haim. These movies weren't blockbusters. But in my opinion, I feel like there's some overlooked gems in this little time frame here personally. And we could talk about that today. So I have a little bit of a guest panel tonight. We've got my co-host of the Radpack podcast, Miss Mel over at My Killer Podcast. Mel, what's going on, kid?
Hello, I'm here. I made it.
Yeah, so our third member of the Radpack was supposed to be here as well, but you guys kind of know how Justin rolls. He may pop in at some point. Don't know where he is, but he's supposed to be here right now. But Mel is definitely a Haimette, so she was here with me last year too, so we're continuing this on, and we have to the table here tonight our special guest who we did have on the show before, but who better to do this with us than I call him the two Corys extraordinaire down there, Mr. Staunch TV, man. What's going on, dude?
Hey, what's up, guys? Very happy to be here. Very happy. It's gonna be a good time, man.
Yeah, I mean, during this time of his career, you can really kind of guide us through, because if you guys don't follow him, like, he's heavily the two Corys on his channel, and he's actually doing the two Corys Christmas, or very Corey Christmas. You're doing this
it's a very Corey Christmas. Yeah,
I love that.
Happening right now.
And you've also got a Corey's podcast, right?
Yeah, the two Corys Forever. You can find us on. I put every episode out on my channel, Staunch TV. We're also on Spotify. We have a new episode coming out the 23rd, actually, on Haimster's birthday. And if you hit me up on Instagram, you get your free two Corys Forever sticker. Look at that.
Oh.
Wow, dude, that's sick. That's it.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, man.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I just got hit up by Mr. Jake Perry. Let's see.
Yeah, I told him I was about to do this.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
He just says, he's
legendary.
He just messaged me and said, I'll be down to do this sometime. I'm like, what are you doing right now? Like,
it's the legendary
you guys don't know
Jake Perry.
Jake Perry used to be Corey Feldman's assistant. So that would be really fun to have him on this.
Talking about definitely got to get him on here.
I think he said he's going to pop in the chat. I think he's going to catch a flight in the morning back to New England. So. But sorry about that. But yeah, man. So Corey Haim, the 80s. We just finished with the 80s. Things were getting a little rough, a little rocky for this child star, for this growing celebrity here. His name was getting everywhere. This guy was a leading man in a lot of these movies. Lost Boys, it was his movie. Lucas, and then License to Drive was his movie, and those were big ones. Like, those did very, very well. But then things started to get a little rocky for him when it came to things like Dream a Little Dream. Like, I guess he was having some issues there. I think it started where, Staunchy, like License to Drive, things started to get a little wacky in the Haimster's life.
Yeah, it would have been, I mean, I guess the whole time, honestly, for being honest about it. But career-wise, yeah, it was around that time. And it's like, it's crazy to see, man, because even in like these smaller movies, you know, like you said, not too many people know about his 90s stuff, but it's like the charisma was always there. It seemed like for a while there, he was putting out these like direct-to-video movies, and they still felt like quality films because of him, and like because of him only. You know what I mean? So it's like it's crazy to think of like the alternate, you know, version of how all this played out. You know, it's crazy.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and I think you're right. Like, even watching some of these as like lower budget as they are or whatever, I always feel like I kind of was won over a little bit by a lot of these just by his performance in general. And I was kind of like,
Yeah.
man, like he wasn't doing good here. Like, how is he still so believable in his role? Right. Like, especially when we
Yes.
kind of saw what happened, towards the real tail end of his career when he actually wanted to be part of Lost Boys 2 and that fiasco of him not even being able to remember a line. But you watch him in some of these ones, and I'm like, I was doing some research and they said there's a lot of these where basically they had to like stand him up during a scene and say go, like it was that bad. But like
Yeah.
you could never tell in some of these things the way he was acting. I was like, he seemed like he was with it, and I think the charisma is what really brought it out, that he was able to just go. But as soon as they
For
said
sure.
cut, he was like laying on the floor or whatever.
And it seems like
That's so
a
sad.
lot of these.
It is.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and it's like you can definitely tell, when you're comparing certain like if you look at Fast Getaway, for instance, compared to like Demolition University. We'll get into those, of course, but it's like night and day. But it's still the Haimster. You can almost see like the light fade, flicker back. Come, all over. The guy had a lot going on. Sad to
Yeah.
say.
Oh no, definitely. Like, did you, Mel? Were you were these a lot like of movies that you had just watched for the first time, or are you kind of rewatching a lot of these ones?
I watched most of these for the first time, to be
Oh, you did?
honest with you.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I own like 4 of these movies, and those are the ones that I watched all the time, like back in the 90s. But a lot of these, like, I don't know if they just passed me by or if I made it a point not to watch them, because once he started to fade from glory, if you will, it was just so sad for me. You know what I mean? So I kind of just didn't watch a lot of his movies. So I have a movie called The Backlot Murders.
Hell yeah.
I have the DVD of that one, and I remember like I saw that movie and I was like, oh, Corey Haim's in this, I'm gonna buy this. And I watched it and I was like,
Yeah.
so ever since then, I made it a point to not watch any of his later movies because it was really sad.
Yeah, the 2000s were not
Like,
good for him.
Yeah, so I never went back into his like later 90s movies. So a lot of these just passed me by, I feel like, because of that.
I think a lot of it is character too, like in Backlot Murders and Snowboard Academy, stuff like that. He's just kind of filling a role, he's just there, he's one of the whatever, he didn't have a character he didn't have much to do. So it's like it's hard to say, like, is he checked out or is he just getting paid or like what's happening here?
Yeah, that one was very much like a cameo part. It kind of seemed like it was
kind
like,
of, yeah.
oh, let's get Corey Haim in here just for like that star power in this really shitty movie.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what it felt like. But before we kind of jump into this, like life after, basically, what was it? It would have been Dream a Little Dream and Watchers. Were that the last two of his tail end of the of the 80s? I'm gonna just say hi, what's up, because people are asking if this is live or if this is recorded. So we are live, pal. Pooch is in the house. He says, what is going on? He's number one. Happy Merry Christmas to you, man. Staunch TV's in here saying what's up. Go this, Staunchy. Go follow him on YouTube right there. All right, we got what's in a name. Been looking forward to this. What is going on? Thank you for being here. Drawn to things. Haim to please all day, every day. Heck yes. Thank you for being here. Blu-ray Addict, what's up? Adrian James, what's going on? Sydney says, I remember renting Prayer of the Rollerboys when it came out, and I have loved it ever since. Definitely my favorite 90s Haim movie. Nothing but wrestling. Happy holidays. Looking forward to the stream. Thank you. This is live. Let me see what we got here. Corey's in the house. He says, Corey forever. I love it. Yeah, man. He's talking about you. Crow is in the house. What's up, Prince?
What's up, Abby?
Rodolfo, what's going on, man? I hope you do as well. Let me see. I don't really like the Coreys or any of the movies, but you guys seem pretty cool. You split. It was a little sloppy. Oh my god. Thank you for being here, Calendar.
Wow.
Appreciate that. All right. So when I think of like this transition, there's two things that I remember is Corey finishing off the 80s on Arsenio, and I loved his spots on Arsenio. I think he did freaking great. It felt like Arsenio really liked him.
Yeah,
like they
sure.
really hit it off a lot, and it's kind of cool to see them go back and forth. And he was on it talking about Dream a Little Dream, Watchers, and then I think he came back because I remember when he was on, I think the first time he had like Arsenio was talking to him about like one of the Teen Beat magazines or whatever. He's like, "Oh, I wish I had a magazine like this." And the next time Corey came back, he had made him a magazine with him in it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. So I always remember that. And then I remember it's funny because at that point you felt like his career was still doing really well. Like he the Watchers, I don't think it was a huge success, but I always felt like that was a pretty solid flick. He was obviously the starring role in that movie. And then all of a sudden he came out with the Me, Myself, and I video basically saying I'm clean and I'm ready to come back and be better than ever. And I cannot believe you have that, dude. I can't. I freaking would.
Took me for.
Oh my god! I look for that all the time on eBay.
Yeah, I'm looking for one for you too, buddy. I'm trying.
Oh man, I have it like digitally. Like I ripped it off YouTube, but I mean I don't have a physical copy of it. But that was that video he did where a lot of people were making videos back then. It was like, you know, it could have been Dolph Lundgren doing a workout video, right? Like. Look at that.
Alyssa Milano.
I would do an Alyssa Milano workout video.
This one has your name on it.
Oh, hell yeah. So it was crazy because he did that and he looked great in it. Like, I feel like he really looked good. He's, you know, he was a little bit hit with his words. It could have gone, you know, gone either way of how he was really doing at the time. But it was basically like a cry for like, I'm ready to come back and be better than ever and whatnot. And it seemed like that was the transition where they wanted to take him from like child actor to a little bit more of a role of like an adult, I guess, at that point, or a little bit older of an adult. He played like college kids or whatever like that. But and it's so funny to look at this 90s resume because to me, it's like they really did try to poise him as like an action star of the 90s, like an up and coming.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these movies that he was in, he played almost, it was like an action movie. Like, and I actually really liked him in those roles, to be honest with you.
Me too. Yeah, I mean, it's like Rollerboys, you know, it was basically set up as, it's like, it wasn't a small budget on that film. It wasn't huge or nothing, but I mean, they brought him in as like a full action star, the way he was shot, the poster, everything, you know, and that's a classic action scenario that's still being used in movies today, you know, that's set up for Rollerboys. So they were going for it, man. I mean, it seemed like they really, that early 90s, there was a big push still there, you know, so maybe if the box office were a little better, you know, everything would have been different. It's insane.
Yeah, I think we all are big fans of Rollerboys for sure. I think that's a really cool movie. And like you said, the premise of that movie is something we see all the time. I mean, even if you really try to drill down on it, it's like, you know, Fast and Furious had a very similar, you know, concept to it in the sense of like, you know, somebody going undercover with the bad guys and all this other stuff. And it's a real cool movie. And like you said, it was really set up for him because, you know, he was really into inline skating at the time and they tried to use that to their advantage. And just like the Lost Boys, you know, with the Rollerboys, one of the things that I always remember, Mel and I had talked about this, was the outfits that they wore in the movie were so killer. Like, and that's when you think about Lost Boys, they're like, oh, they had the long jackets, they had the cool clothes. Yeah. And this is the same way. Like, per the Rollerboys, everybody was rocking super rad gear, but it was like that a little bit more 90s-esque than that early 80s or mid 80s look. And I really, really dug it a lot.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. People say that there was a bit of a Third Reich kind of theme going on with everything there as far as the way they were looking. And it's like, yeah, maybe, but there was also like a Pet Shop Boys thing happening, you know, so it kind of evened itself out. But it's crazy because I think a big issue for Corey Haim is, you know, especially going into the 90s, spending bigger budgets on him and stuff like that, is that, I mean, going back as far back to Lucas, you can find stories about how hard he was to work with, you know. if we're being real about it, like the guy was on the set of Lucas, he was apparently like kind of a menace, which I don't like to think about because I love that movie, you know. But and it was just something that always happened, and even up to Rollerboys, the director, it was a guy named Rick King, I believe his name was. He came out and talked about how like insanely difficult it was working with Haimster on that film. How he would always just say he had a stomach ache or he was sick, and he would take off the set and just leave everyone in the dust. And eventually, Haim was like switching doctors every day just to get different sick notices to leave the set, and they had to block him in at one point, so he couldn't leave the set. And it was just a big issue when you have, you know, like film sets or money, you know. And personally, I think that was a big reason why he did the, you know, Me, Myself, and I think that the drug issues were part of it, but also his reputation just in general being difficult, you know. And unfortunately, I mean, if you don't get rid of your bad habits, it's like it's just going to get worse. And I think that's what happened with him in the 90s, was being cast in these bigger budgeted movies and not delivering, you know, what he should have delivered, I guess, like on set. That's just, I guess, my opinion, though.
Yeah, word travels fast too, and people probably didn't want to hire him after that.
For
now,
sure.
Did Me, Myself, and I, was that done after Rollerboys or before? Because I know Brooke McCarter had something to do with Rollerboys, right? Oh, the music? No, what did he have to do with? And he also filmed.
With Rollerboys, I'm not sure. I know he directed.
Fast Getaway. He did the music for, right?
Yeah, Fast Getaway. He had a song in that. Yeah. So that comes up. I believe Fast Getaway was right after Rollerboys, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So like, was Rollerboys? Was that filmed after Me, Myself, and I, or was that during the same time? Like, because like, was he apologizing for that, or was he like, "Hey guys, I'm back. I'm gonna be better now," and then goes right into Rollerboys and still acts a fool? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know where.
Yeah.
The filming.
I don't know. That's a good point. Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. Yeah, because I mean, I would like to think that he came back and, you know, at least held his own, because that would mean you come back and you do Fast Getaway and, you know, you bring it, because he brought it in that movie.
Oh, so drawn to things. So he did Me, Myself, and I after Rollerboys or before? I'm just curious the timeline.
Me, Myself, and I says the video came out in 1989, but Prayer of the Rollerboys came out in 90.
Yeah, I just don't know if like they filmed it in 89.
Yeah.
Then he
did
Me,
Myself, and I would have been an easier production to, you know, wrap up.
That's why I'm not sure if that's what possessed him to do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's a good question. Yeah.
Okay, so she said before Rollerboys, he did that.
Okay.
Yeah, 1980.
That makes sense.
So yeah. I just wasn't sure if maybe Rollerboys was on the shelf for like a year and then they released it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, he did that in between. But it's a cool ass movie. I mean, you got a great cast too. I mean, you've got Patricia Arquette in there, who I always love Patricia Arquette. Like,
oh yeah,
she's another one for me where if she's in it, like I'll watch it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
you got Haim and Christopher Collett from Firstborn.
Firstborn getting a little reunion. Yeah, hell yeah. I love that, man. So that's killer too, is to get them back together.
And it's crazy how similar, like, this is basically Point Break, you know. And it's the guy that wrote Point Break or whatever. And looking into that, Peter Elif, the guy that wrote it, and the director Rick King, they kind of, their stories conflict on who came up with what and when. You know, it's pretty funny.
Wait a minute. So does somebody that did Point Break was involved in this?
Yeah, it's the same writer, and then the director of Rollerboys got a story by credit on Point Break.
I didn't know that.
His story was that. Yeah, his story was that they're working on this rollerblade movie, and he was like surfing, and he came in, and at the time in LA, all the bank robberies, he said he kind of just thought of it up, you know. And then Peter Elif, the writer, is like, well, yeah, you know, he had some elements, but I'm the one that thought of the bank robbery and the ex-presidents, and so it's kind of sketchy how that went. But basically, yeah, Point Break is just surfing Rollerboys, basically, you know.
I mean, you never know. I mean, it could be one of those things where if there was no Rollerboys, there might be no Point Break, right? Like there could have been a world where that didn't happen, because that obviously seems like that idea was kind of ripped a little bit there, especially if they were involved. Or it's almost like, oh, Rollerboys didn't succeed. Let's try it again with something else. You know,
and most people don't know there's a pseudo sequel to Rollerboys. It's a TV movie that was like a TV pilot called Blade Cops, or in some places it's called Inline Cops, and it's the same universe mainly only because it's the same drug that is in Rollerboys, and they're on rollerblades in both stories. And it's Peter Elif. It's the same writer too, sir. It's pretty crazy. It used to be on YouTube for free. It's a watch. I say that
sounds interesting.
You know what else is kind of funny now with you think about him and Colette getting back together. I mean, him and Colette and Rollerboys look like they could be the same age, but then when you think back at Firstborn, it's like they were so different age at that point.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
like Haim was he like 10 and Colette was like 18 or something. Yeah,
that was strange.
Super funny. But Drawn to Things said that Colette is now a Pilates instructor who wants to take classes. I would take classes with Colette for sure. Hell yeah.
Nice.
But Prayer of the Rollerboys, I think all around, we all agree that that's a real good one. And if you guys haven't seen it, it's definitely worth a check. It's one of those movies too where it's so in dire need of a good physical media release. This for a while was very hard to come by back in like the heyday of DVDs. It took me a long time to acquire this movie, and they had a couple different editions. Yeah, I think that's the one I got.
Oh, sweet.
That's the one you have?
Yeah, there's also like that Canadian one with like remember those Canadian ones where it was almost like a plastic case where it would have, it's a DVD along the spine or whatever like that.
Like one of those?
Yeah. Rollerboys had one of those too.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think those were like Canadian releases maybe or something.
I think so. Right here I have a Japanese VHS. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
I got a UK copy on tape as well. And then of course the American one over here. That's that one's there.
I thought it was cool just because I had the DVD.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it is now, but I mean, this was definitely a hard one to get for a long time. It took me a while to acquire this.
I can't find
one. And I do have the one sheet poster of this movie as well. And I was just going to bring this up. The promo version is a red VHS. I actually have that in my eBay cart right now.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful.
Which is pretty wild. Yeah. So that's so funny. But yeah, I would definitely don't you swipe it from me. I see you over there.
I'm like, how dare you?
Yeah, I know it's good.
Is it this one?
Yeah. All of a sudden, as soon as I go back, it's gonna be like, sorry, sold.
Sorry, sold.
Damn it. I guarantee someone's gonna snag it right now too.
Yeah, you shouldn't have said that.
On there and get it.
I think it's in my card as well, man.
Oh no.
Yeah, but I'm good.
Somebody better click buy like right now.
Watch, I'm gonna go on eBay and I guarantee it's gonna be like, this computer doesn't even probably have my password still, so I'm gonna
Can we put a pause on the stream just first?
Shit. I really wait a minute, hold on. Let's see if I can get it.
All right,
I'm gonna buy it right here. Oh no, I don't have
buy it first.
Hold on. This computer doesn't remember my account. Damn it. I don't even know if I remember the password. All right, take us home. Where are we going now? Why I do this? We're going to Fast Getaway, aren't we?
If I find that red tape, I'm buying it real quick.
Fast Getaway was another one that, man, like I love Fast Getaway. I posted this on my Instagram today. Is that damn trailer for this? How cool of a trailer was that?
So awesome. Yeah, I did a video a few weeks ago on that one for Very Corey Christmas, and it was just fun to make because I was like, oh, cool. I get to like go and look at all this shit again. It gives me a reason to rewatch my tapes. And man, that trailer's epic. It's one of the best trailers like ever made to an action movie, I'd say. He's just walking back and forth, spitting heat.
It's so good, man. It really, really is. And he looks so awesome, like in that trailer too. Like, with the hair that was almost like kind of hawked out in the back a little bit.
Yeah,
he
Vanilla Ice thing going on.
You can tell he looked a lot older in the trailer than he did in the movie.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that came later. Yeah, it came. Apparently that movie, they didn't know what they were going to do. They didn't know if they were going to put it in theaters. So they went ahead and they did some test screenings, and it totally didn't do well at all. And so they went back and they tried to aim it more at a younger audience. Haim went on a little publicity run, and apparently, and then that's when they shot that trailer. But apparently, the trailer was shot 2 different times. The first time they said that Haim showed up and refused to listen to him, and he was rapping everything. It was the same thing, but he was rapping the whole time. And that version never came out that I know. I've never seen it. But then they forced him to do the one that we all saw. So
yeah, I love it, man.
And
the way it
worked out.
And you can so tell that they really were pushing him as an action guy. The way the whole trailer was, where it said Corey Haim and those big block letters coming down, that was something that you would have seen. It was like Stallone or something like that, or Cage, and then it had the other guy's name and on it. It was really, really cool. You could tell they were really trying to push him, into that role, which is unfortunate, man, because what a great time too it would have been to kind of get in there. You saw a lot of people around that time sneak into stuff like that, like Christian Slaters of the world and stuff like that, kind of snuck into those type of movies. And it would have been just really cool to kind of see if he was to keep himself clean, where he could have took him, because man, like I said before, he was so good. And it's so unfortunate to see, that the way his career went, it was almost just self-sabotage at that point, because he was so freaking talented, man. Even when he was, like I said, so bad, he was still so good at his role. And that's the one thing that Feldman's even admitted. Feldman basically said, yeah, I was in bigger movies altogether, but he was a better actor than I was. He was a leading guy. I wasn't, right? And it's to the fact that Corey Feldman would even admit that, it really shows you that how much of the truth that really was,
It's everything that Feldman did, Haim could have done, but that doesn't go the other way,
Exactly.
Yeah, there was a couple times in their careers too where I think basically Haim got a role over Feldman, and but
it happened a
what
lot.
Was the reason with why wasn't Corey Haim trying to be in Goonies? Was it because of Lucas that didn't happen?
Yeah, they were both up for each of those roles. From what I gathered, they were both up for. Haim was up for Lucas, and Haim was up for Goonies, and it was the vice versa. And I think it was the producers. It was one of the producers on Lucas that was why don't I think this guy will be better suited over here? And then at that point, Steven Spielberg already had his eye on Corey Feldman, and it was a sole producer that was we got to get this Haim guy, we got to get this Haim kid back because he was perfect, don't let him go.
It is wild too, because Kerry Green did both movies, right? So it's really funny how that kind of all worked out, and how they must have all seen each other at every one of these auditions, because back then movies with kids were so popular. There was so many of those what do you call those what's the name of those movies where it's where you see a kid kind of growing up or whatever? What do you call those?
Coming of age kind of thing.
Coming of age kind of story. Yeah, there was so many of those back then where they had actors, and I'm sure they probably all saw themselves, all the time going for the same roles and whatnot. But yeah, man, I also do love Fast Getaway. I do have that as well. This is a boot right here that I got at convention.
Nice.
I do not own this in any other format, though. I don't have this on VHS anymore or anything like that. So this is my only copy right here.
Yeah, I got a busted tape. It's actually broken, but I just don't look. I just don't look at that.
It's a good piece.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that movie, man. And it's the quality's all there. They shot this thing thinking it was going to theaters. The director, he's a world famous, obviously, but he's a really famous second unit action director. This dude, the guy that directed it, I forget his name. It is Spiro Rosatos. That's what it is. Yeah. that guy, he's done all kinds of cool shit. Like he's doing like Marvel movies now, the Fast and the Furious movies, all the second action. So the guy, that's his thing. He's a stunt man. He's an action guy, and so that's why you watch this movie and it looks like $1 billion on screen. They do everything. That big stunt on the bridge in this film. I mean, that
is a pretty insane stunt for a movie of this.
Yeah, for any movie, and it's in this movie, you know. So it's pretty crazy. And then you got Cynthia Rothrock. Like I mean, Cynthia. Whoever thought of putting Cynthia Rothrock with Corey Haim? I mean,
it's great, man. I met her a couple months ago now, October, and awesome. I had my Fast Getaway 2 Laserdisc signed. And
nice.
With them two on the front, and I had asked her about it and whatnot, and she's like, "Oh, he was a nice guy." Da da da. And then I said, "What's the deal with these movies?" And because there's no real physical media format, and a company like Vinegar Syndrome is putting out like every Rothrock movie. And I'm like, why can't they get this? And all she said that she knows is whatever the company was that put these out went under. Yeah. And as far as where these ended up, she doesn't really even know.
Which is a damn shame.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it would be so cool for something like to come out with a box set with these two in there, like a 1 and 2, like a nice pair. I heard this too. I don't know the story on this, but I did hear that too before. And I think he even made a snarky comment about it afterwards, kind of like he wasn't impressed kind of thing. I don't know how truthful that is or not.
Yeah.
But I did hear something about that. She didn't mention it when I saw her, but
yeah. That's pretty funny. It was Cinetel Films.
That's what I heard. Who is this person? That's what I heard too. Wait, I heard the same thing.
I didn't see what it was.
It was a fish.
Oh god,
like a smelly.
Yeah, that's pretty funny that we've all heard the same story.
I didn't hear this story, but I don't think that I want to.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's not much to it. That's about it.
Just that. Yeah. That's the story.
The story was it was a fishy smell he wouldn't like. Yeah. That's all.
It was. What else did this was the same company that put out Dream a Little Dream 2.
You choking over there?
And
what up, dude?
Dude.
Cody says roundhouse kick the like button. If you're in here, hit that like button. I appreciate that. So I mean, I think this was great. I wish this would have got a bigger box office run. I think it's highly overlooked, highly underrated. I think it's one that people should check out. It's a fun, feels just like a 90s action movie, early 90s action movie. That was a lot of this stuff was coming out around that time, and to have Rothrock in there, I mean, there was a lot of cool action in this flick.
It has a lot of charm too.
Yeah,
there's a lot of style going on too. I mean, with Brooke McCarter's song, and again the way it's just shot, it was shot with like a youthful approach, and it's all that. Even though I mean, you got Leo Rossi, you know what I mean. And this was Cinetel Films. Yeah, he is. This is Cinetel Films, and they put out like Dream a Little Dream 2 as well. And at the time, Leo Rossi and Corey Haim must have signed some sort of deal because they were just in these movies like all the time.
Yeah, he was in Dream a Little Dream 2. He was like that guy on the street or whatever, wasn't he?
Yeah, he pops up in that. Yeah, it's crazy.
That is funny. So, I mean, Fast Getaway, to me, that was a successful one. One that I don't know if a lot of people have seen, unless they're big Corey's fans. It just definitely seems like it was an overlooked one. And even more overlooked, I think, was the next one that he starred in which, again, he's getting starring roles in these, pseudo action movies back then. And that's Dream Machine. I think that was the next one he did. And same story. I have like this. Oh, damn you. I don't have the VHS. I got this bootleg DVD.
Oh, I have that same tape. Yeah.
Great artwork. I love the poster for this. It really screams like 80s, 90s. This is perfect car, perfect girl, perfect murder. Almost. I think that's pretty rad too. I like this movie a lot. It's a little bit different though. You know, it's not straight
Yeah.
action like the other one, but it's you know, it's him in
Oh
this
yeah.
car. He's a college kid, and you know, he's what does he do? He fixes pianos. That's what his gig is.
Yeah. Yeah, he like tunes pianos or something.
Yeah.
And there's-
Like, all right, Corey,
there's
here's you're gonna be a
something-
piano tuner. Okay.
yeah. It's weird, man. It's like after License to Drive, it's like producers had it in their heads, like, put these guys, if they're gonna split apart, then we're gonna stick them with another partner, someone else. We're gonna put them in a movie with another, make them a duo either way, and then it's gonna be car themed, you know, like because Corey Feldman had a Round Trip to Heaven around the same time, and it's like there you go. It's Corey Feldman, Zach Galligan, and there's a fancy car, and there's something in the car, and there's a bad guy looking for it.
VHS, that movie.
Yeah, and it's like almost similar plot. It's just in Canada, and you got, you know, Evan Richards with Corey Haim, and that movie is kind of weird. I don't know. I like Dream Machine. It's just a strange film. It feels chopped up, or like there's a different version of it out there somewhere. I don't know. I always found it as to be a kind of a weird movie. Maybe it's just like the Canadian aspect of it or something. I don't know.
Now, do you know if there's any you know, around this time with Fast Getaway, Dream Machine, like was there a point in time where he was doing really well, or was it kind of the same old story on set and whatnot behind the scenes? Do you know any of that?
Well, I'm kind of friends with Evan Richards. I did the documentary Forever, the Untold Story of Rock and Roll High School Forever, available for free on Staunch TV. You can check that out. And I interviewed all the cast and everything, but Evan didn't want to talk about it because I'm assuming he didn't want to. He's such a nice guy. He's like the biggest sweetheart ever. He doesn't want to say anything negative, or he doesn't want to give any negative vibes off. So he didn't want to talk about Rock and Roll High School Forever, you know. But I stayed in touch with them. You know, we talk here and there. And then, of course, I eventually asked him about Dream Machine. And he's like, oh, you know, I don't really want to talk about it too much. But, you know, Corey Haim's a sweetheart. That's all he had to say. So I'm assuming there was probably something going on, you know. That's just me assuming, though. Shout out to Evan Richards, by the way.
The thing with Haim, though, it's like it sucks because no matter how bad he got, it always seemed like he could always charm his way back to a point. And I think he got to a point where it's just like he just couldn't do it anymore. But like for a long time, he was able to kind of, you know, sell it, you know, for a big stretch of time where, you know, he's even said he was clean or was clean for 2 weeks and then fell off, but still was able to kind of, you know, get himself some good roles, you know, for a long period of time, which is super crazy. And I think it was just, you know, he was, like you said, that he said he was a sweetheart. And I think that's exactly what it was. And when you look at a lot of these movies that we're going to get into, if he was that much of a kind of wreck at this point and drugs really taking over and he just couldn't control it, like he was still getting chicks all over the place too. So that wasn't affecting him in any way where, you know, they were like, get this guy away from me or whatever. Like, cause you start seeing as we get through, like he's dating all these girls that are in these movies with him.
Yeah.
And, you know, now we're talking about Cynthia Rothrock, who was a lot older than him at the time too. That was already established. And all of a sudden he just comes in and it's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to hook up with him. You know, it's like wild to me to think if he was that much of like a pain in the ass, like how was he able to kind of pull that? You know what I'm saying? It's strange.
Yeah, straight up. And I think,
Game, baby.
I think around this time he was having issues with, yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Shirt.
Yeah. Sure.
I think around this time he was having issues with work visas and whatnot. That's why there was more Canadian productions and stuff like that, you know. So I think even like aside from Dream Machine, I think Oh What a Night, definitely a Canadian movie, you know. So he was doing work back home, and you know, he really wasn't in Hollywood. They tried getting him out of Hollywood, thinking that was the problem, you know. I mean, that's something I've read before, at least.
Yeah, I saw that too, where they thought, you know, he was just not around good people in Hollywood, so they took him back to Canada to work there to try to get himself all cleaned up. And you know, he went through phases where I think they said a couple months, and then something would happen or whatever. And it's just crazy to think, like, you know, you just wonder if he was just so far in that he couldn't function without. I don't know. It's like I'm not in that position. But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know why they weren't able to kind of fix it, because we've seen, like, you look at Downey Jr. and just think to yourself, like, how he was able to just freaking flip it around, and his career has just skyrocketed because he made a good choice, and why it works for some people and other people it just doesn't work, and it's crazy to think,
probably because he got locked up, he got scared straight. I don't know, who knows.
Oh yeah. Get to that point,
but I don't know. Yeah, it is crazy, but this was definitely the time where he was still a big enough draw, to put in these movies that are just going to pop up on the video store shelves anyway. So, I mean, the Corey Haim on the top of a poster still meant something, So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and that brings us to a movie that, crazy enough, I've never seen. I think it only has a VHS. It's called Oh, What a Night. It's another one of Corey Haim's movies, which are like that. Like a lot of these movies, they are still stuck on VHS.
Yeah,
it's wild to think that a lot of these
and
movies...
Laserdisc.
Ooh, look at that!
Oh,
it's framed.
But
yeah, you're right. Yeah, that movie really is nowhere. And it's not bad. It's actually good, and that's something else that Haim had on his resume, and it was that Feldman didn't. Is like Haim, he was doing movies that I don't want to call them period pieces, but I mean, this takes place like in the 50s or something, or 60s. I think it was something like that. And then he did also like Life 101, and he did movies that were for better or worse. He had to put himself in a different time and act a different way, or at least attempt to. And so that's something Feldman never did. I always found that interesting, how much more genre Corey Haim touched on,
Well, it's funny that you say this, because I haven't seen Oh, What a Night, but I was reading about it, and they did say this. The interesting part about that movie is his love interest in the movie was his mother in The Watchers, which is wild.
Yeah, it is weird.
That's weird.
It makes it for a weird watch. Yeah.
That Haim game, baby.
Yeah,
doing moms now.
And it's a good flick, man. You should check it out sometime. It's it's real thoughtful. It's there's a lot of heart in the movie.
Stream it and find it. I can't find it. I have to just try to get the VHS somewhere. Or
it used to be for free on It used to be on YouTube. I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, maybe it's on there. I didn't check
it
on
down.
there.
Yeah, it's worth a watch.
Thing out that had all the movies and where you could find them. Was that on there?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. It is on YouTube.
Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely give that one a watch. I grew up watching this movie because it would be on and drawn to things. I don't know, but I like her.
Find me on Instagram at Born to Be Rad, and we'll chat.
I'll take one too.
This is live.
Send me one too.
Wow, it's like a store over there. We'll ask you if you got more stuff later, I'm sure. But yeah, so you're saying it's pretty good movie?
Yeah, it is good. Haim's really good in it. It holds your attention. It's like you say, it's fun to watch Corey Haim, and he is very present in this movie for being at the time that it was. I mean, nothing looks suspect about him. Again, it was shot in Canada. Maybe he was just doing better at the time. I don't know, but I used to watch this all the time growing up because it was on cable, like literally all the time. I remember they would play this and that movie Man on the Moon, like almost one after another, because they're both kind of vibey like that, And this one, I remember growing up thinking it was like a classic American movie, and it is so Canadian.
Does it feel like Man on the Moon? Like, as far as when it takes place, does it have that same tone? Like that same?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
oh, okay.
It's like the same kind of. Yeah. It's like that same kind of. I don't know what the word, like this marshy area, and kind of just
farmland
that laid back vibe. Yeah, the farmland kind of thing. It doesn't really get as heavy duty as Man on the Moon, but it's the same kind of vibe. And they used to show them all the time. I don't know why they would do that, but I used to watch it all the time growing up because there's boobs in it. It was one of those movies. It would be on, and I'd be like, "Hey, I want to watch this." And I remember like my mom would say, it's like one of those movies your dad will watch. And then like he's spying on his mom from Watchers, and it's kind of weird.
So wait, so I think we just discovered something here. Is you watched this movie
God.
so much to get a glimpse at those boobs that
Like
you
back then,
that's when you
know,
started to like Haim, because you're like, I've seen this kid so many times when I'm watching his
well,
boobs.
yeah.
I'm gonna
And
figure
by
out what
that
this
point,
dude's deal is.
by the time I saw that movie,
Oh
I had
my
already
God.
Feldman was already in his like Skinamax horn dog era, you know. Feldman got real dirty in the 90s. So I was already a fan
Gross.
of those movies, and yeah, in my head this was like similar, but I grew up and I realized no, those were nowhere near as bad as the stuff Feldman was doing, you know.
Mel's looking through the lines trying to watch Spice in the 90s.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Did you guys have Spice
Totally.
TV?
No.
No,
You didn't have
I
that?
didn't. No.
What?
I remember
You
that.
didn't have that? Oh, we had it here. Oh, what a night. 1992. Speaking of 92, he slammed another big role here, leading role. And I rewatched this this week, and I liked this like so much more than I remember. And that's Double O Kid. Like, I remember it like thinking like, oh, it's a pretty decent one. When I rewatched it, I was like, this is a great one. Like, I love. What? Where you get all these VHS haimsters, kid? Damn, I'm really slacking on my Haim VHS.
Look at
tape.
this one though.
That is a sweet one. I got this.
Oh,
this-
that's nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What? Oh, you definitely don't need the red Rollerboys then if you got that.
Oh, I already got it.
Ah, no.
Hold up, I got that beat. Check this out. I have the demo copy, and on the other side is Abraxas.
Wow, you got Jesse Ventura on the back. Wow.
Yeah, it's movies in one.
What?
Damn.
Silly stuff. But yeah, again, like Double O Kid, that's one of those movies that it really could have been anybody. It's better that it's Corey Haim, you know. It makes it all the better. And it's such a silly movie. I love it. I love this movie.
It's
So
very
weird. I
silly.
think this is the first time, if I'm not mistaken, that he worked with Nicole Eggert.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she looked great in this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
100%.
Yeah, this was the first of a lot of movies they did together. It's funny because Corey Haim is obviously way older than he's supposed to be. I think he this should have been.
He's supposed to be what, a teenager in this or something?
Yeah, something like it's kind of weird. They give him that like, you know, that Green Lantern bowl top haircut
I
kind of
love
thing
that
going on.
haircut in this. I
I love
messaged
this
Mel and I was like,
haircut
I
in
love the
this
haircut in
one.
Double O.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
could do that right now if I wanted to.
They did something different with him. You know, I love it. Yeah, for sure.
Bleached hair and they just shaved the sides, but they left the top really big.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
liked it because I felt like they really took this serious, and they almost, to me, felt like that they had an idea that they were going to make this like a franchise, kind of like, because it felt like 007, but with a younger kid, like basically like a teen,
Yeah.
you know, 007 or something. And even the music was like very similar to like 007, but it kind of had like its own little thing to it. So I watched it was it yesterday, and I was like, man, this just feels a lot bigger than what I remember. And Lionsgate put out this this DVD, and it's like, yeah, what is going on with his stuff? Someone said, is there some kind of clause in his contract that says that like you can't release his stuff on formats? But I'm like, would Judy Haim have some kind of lock on his stuff? Like, how can none of this be available anymore? Like, even Lucas and License to Drive are like heavily unavailable at this point.
Yeah.
It's weird.
My-
Dream a Little
I
Dream and
think
like Lost
it's-
Boys are like the only movies that are like really
Yeah.
still out there.
I think it's Judy Haim, man. I honestly do. I don't know why, you know. I think it's just the association with Feldman, the two, that people flip out on it. Not people, but you know, her camp or whatever you want to call them. I think that's the only logical reason, because why else would they not be doing this? And there's this company called Brother Belial. They're out of Germany, and I recently bought. They put an Evil Obsession media book out, and on their website it's listed that Demolition High is on there. I have it. I never. You got it? Okay, I couldn't find it, man. So that's like the only. That's it.
I think this
like,
is sold out. But what's Evil Obsession? Is that another Haim movie?
Oh no, Evil Obsession is a very obscure Corey Feldman movie.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I got to go on and get that.
Yeah. You know, I wanted that copy of Demolition High. It sold out like so fast, but
which is crazy. Think about that.
I never even knew that was a thing until it was already gone.
Yeah. I don't know how. I think somebody might have sent it to me on like DMs and said, "Did you hear about this?" And I'm like, "No." And then I think it was on a pre-order when I got it, but it's like a media book, so
yeah.
And you just don't let other people know.
I don't remember when this happened. But it's funny because it's got this little card and it's got his autograph on it.
Yeah.
It's wild.
That's so cool.
I want that.
Yeah, I talked to him. I talked to the Brother Belial guys just yesterday, actually. And I asked them if there's going to be any available soon. They said no, but that if you go on their website or whatever, and you go to the disc and you hit like notify me, that they'll notify you whenever another one comes up. So that's what I did.
And that was really the only time that movie has had any kind of like, even the VHS was hard to get because I tried to get that for a while too. And I don't know if you know this, if it actually came in fruition, but there was an ad that I saw somewhere like promoting the VHS, and it was like him like doing like a pose, and it had like the VHS, but that VHS cover in the ad I cannot ever find. I only find the cover with the girl on it, but there was a cover in the ad with Haim on the front, but I don't know if that was just they switched the covers or if there's like that's an old version of it. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've never seen a physical copy of that one either. I've only ever seen, you know, the one that everyone knows. But I don't know why, because this covers. What the hell is this?
Yeah, that's the only one I ever seen. That's wild. But this is funny too, because I will say, as much as I love Fast Getaway, I feel like that poster doesn't do that movie justice at all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's iconic, like, but that's it doesn't do justice. I look at
that
Fast
was a
Getaway
weird
poster.
choice to try to make that.
Yeah.
Especially if they were like, oh yeah, he's going to be our next action star. Like that doesn't look like that's an action movie at all. But the Laserdisc that I have with him and Rothrock is a real cool poster. It's like them back to back with like guns. Yeah, it's a really cool one for Fast Getaway.
That is bad. To get back real quick to Double O Kid, so I know we were talking about how like he was seeing things were looking better, you know, and oh what a night and whatnot. There's a pretty interesting story about a Double O Kid from Seth Green. Seth Green had a part in Double O Kid. It got cut out though, and it was like one of his like earlier 90s roles. You know, he was kind of trying to do more. And he's a huge fan of the two Coreys, so he jumped on the opportunity to work with Corey Haim. He said the scene in the movie is whenever Corey Haim goes to like the school or whatever, it's his best friend that drops him off. And so he goes and drops him off. He said he had a few lines with him, that it was just like one quick scene, and that it took like almost a week to shoot because, you know, Corey Haim was not showing up, making up excuses, that whole thing again. And he said, like, yeah, everyone kind of knew that he was up to something. He was real moody and whatnot. And then one day he just showed up, ready to go, and not a problem. And then shot the rest of the movie. So it's those weird moments, man. You hear that again come up where things are going crazy, and he wasn't paying attention, and just being real moody, and then just snapped into it, man, and then gave it his alls. It's a crazy dynamic. It seriously is. It blows my mind thinking about it.
Yeah, and he actually, I thought, did really well in this one too. And I did hear that this one he had a lot of trouble, and like Nicole Eggert was like taking care of him like every night after filming and stuff. Like he'd be like passed out, or she'd have to take him to an emergency room or something like that. And it is so funny just to see that they were still together at this point, and she was dealing with that shit, where she had a pretty big career herself around this time. She had her own movie. Yeah. She had, you know, she was doing Baywatch. I mean, that probably was Baywatch must have been after this though, right?
Yeah, it was. She was still pretty young in this. This is early on, but I don't think it was too much after.
Yeah. So, I mean, she had kind of a good thing going. So it's just kind of interesting that she was, you know, she stayed with him for as long as they did. I think they were engaged or something at one point, but yeah, it is crazy. I met her once, and I actually had her sign a picture of her and him. That's what
awesome.
I brought, and had her sign.
I know she doesn't talk much about Corey
this was
Haim.
literally right after he passed too. Like when
really?
I did this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she kind of just like, she didn't really talk about it. She was like, oh cool, and like that was it. She didn't really, But the guy that was in front of me, I was kind of laughing at myself because he's unrolling like a one sheet of like Blown Away.
Oh, hell yeah. That's
Yeah,
so
no
awesome.
wonder she's like, what the fuck?
Probably.
That's wild.
It's Corey Haim, man.
Yeah. But I feel like now that I'm like more into it, like I'm like, I would love to get her to sign a Blown Away poster. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's crazy.
It.
It's wild.
Wait,
And
so is that Demolition High a DVD?
Yeah. I know you kids. His stuff is like it's like anti-HD basically. But it's wild that this just came out and it's literally a DVD. Like it's strange. I'm trying to let me just make sure it is. Yeah. Yeah.
The Evil Obsession I got, I think it's like a 4K or Blu-ray or something, but the quality's it's just a VHS rip for all I could tell. It's not like they did anything special. It's just cool to have these releases, you know. Such badass artwork.
Yeah, they do a good job over there. They have some different stuff. They have like a nice edition of the stuff and all this fun stuff. All these media books, Mel, so squishy. Dude, look at this.
Yeah.
It is. It's like it's like almost like a padded cover.
Yeah. It is very
so squishy, you little freak.
Very light.
They look squishy.
They are very it's so squishy, you freak. Speaking of that, Blown Away is where he goes next with Eggert. And this is their second movie together, and they are really together in this one for sure. I do have that on VHS. I don't have it on me right here, but I do have the DVD right here.
Oh, nice. I don't have that.
You know, people always talk about that other Blown Away, but this is the one.
Yeah.
This is the jam.
I have the basic old tape here, and then this sweet Japanese release with Nicole Eggert's nipples on the cover.
Have her sign that if you ever meet her.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But yeah, and this is the first two Corey's movie of the 90s, I believe.
Wow.
So I mean,
it's funny because I saw this for the first time, and because there was a point in time where I was just collecting all of his stuff, and I remember getting this, and I'm like, all right, Eggert, Haim, Feldman, this is going to be awesome. And I remember put it in, and I was sitting there, and I was like, what the hell is happening? Like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, because I was just like, that's so wild that this is where, you know, they would do this, you know?
Yeah. Very weird movie. I mean, and it's funny because, you know, it's shot at, well, it's like a ski resort, but it's off season. So it's like, it makes for a weird location for like a sex thriller or whatever. And it feels like some focus was off because both Coreys were in it. Like, I think Nicole Eggert should have had a lot more to do in this film. And like Corey Feldman's character, did he really need that much screen time? It's kind of a weird movie, but it is very much of that time. It's very much a like cable action thriller with the two Coreys.
Yeah. It's got a definite weird feel to it. Doesn't feel like your normal, you know, Corey's movie at all.
No,
For sure.
I think it's one that people should watch just because it's so out there. Like, you know, it's stuff you never thought you would see. You know, it's wild.
Yeah, Corey Feldman's very sleazy in it. He says some real cringy stuff. I mean, Haim and Eggert just go at it. I mean, talk about, you know, watching these movies when you're a kid.
Yeah, for sure.
This was
Cringe
one of my
is
favorites.
a good word to describe that.
Yeah. Like, it's like, dude, come on, Feldman, making it hard here. And there's that scene where Corey Feldman is like having sex with Nicole Eggert. It's all close up on his face. He just,
and Haim's like watching them.
I love it.
Like watching them from the side.
Yeah.
Just watching.
They went.
Like, think about in real life, though,
man.
like that was his girlfriend. Like, do you think that must have been super weird for him to see Feldman like all over her like that? Like, he must have really been fired up at that point.
Yeah, I always wondered.
Like,
Haim's like, why this fucking guy, you know, leeching on my shit, you know. But yeah, it's
the whole thing, I mean, to it to me is it's wild. Is like the person in charge here, like that wrote this, directed this, like it almost felt like, is he just exploiting every one of these people? Is that what's happening? Like how does everybody buy into this where it's like, hey, by the way, you're gonna be in this movie and you all are gonna have sex with each other? Like it's super strange. Like
that's why this movie is so cringe, because that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like they literally just wrote this movie so that they could get all of these people naked.
Yeah, like some weird initiation or something. Yeah, for real.
It does feel very weird. Like that, these scenes, like it just doesn't really match kind of what the movie felt like it was going.
Yeah.
You know?
But like that femme fatale, you know, Nicole Eggert is so good. She's very wicked in this movie. I think she sells it. It's so cool.
So yeah, that's where things get a little bit wild. I mean, things are still going to get wild here. Obviously, I feel like the Coreys probably were both pretty gone at this point in this 1993 area. Now, because he's going to jump in with Eggert again with just one of the girls. Which to me was always a favorite of mine because number one, I loved Corey Haim. Gus, what's up, brother? And then I was a huge fan of just one of the guys. So between the two, it won me over with that title because I'm like, oh my God, a sequel to one of my favorite comedies of the 80s with Corey Haim. Like this is a must. And this was another one that was a real hard one to find again. Like,
I can't find it on VHS.
I have it on DVD.
I can't find it on DVD either. Shit.
It's hard to find. I had it does have one of those Canadian DVDs like we were just talking about. It's got one of those. But I met Corey Haim I met him twice. And the first time I met him, the thing I said to him is I said, "Hey man, like I cannot for the life of me find just one of the girls. Like do you have any idea of like why I can't acquire this?" And his answer at the time, he's like, "Try eBay, man. eBay." He says, I always remember that. Like my friend Mike always says that. Yeah. So my friend Mike, like still to this day, he'll just come over and look at me and go, "eBay." He'll say, like,
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I was like, I think to myself, like, what a weird question I'm asking him. Like, hey, yo, by the way, just one of the girls.
That's
so good.
I'll bring him down for you. I didn't know what I was expecting him to say, but yeah, I was able to get it, and it's a freaking weird movie, man. It's another one that I've got a soft spot for it. It's not a great flick by any means, but I do have a soft spot for the movie. Again, just because I almost kind of forced myself to love it because it was technically at that time, I thought it was an official sequel to just one of the guys and then with Corey Haim, but they seemed like it's not really connected. They just used the title to try to get it looked at more by people. Like me, that assumed it was a direct sequel, basically.
So did I. Yeah, I rented it thinking it was a direct sequel, and and for one of those movies, it's not like one of the worst. I wouldn't say. I mean, it's a solid flick. I mean, Nicole Eggert, goddamn, she just like keeps looking better and better throughout these movies, and Corey Haim gives her a run for her money. You know?
Yeah, no kidding.
And so I remember like, oh, I don't know, man. Questioning things over here. He was great,
and all he had to do was put a wig on. I'm jealous over here.
But knowing his past in Hollywood and some of the shit that he endured, you're kind of thinking like who are these predators that are directing all these movies that are like, having them do these naked sex scenes now, putting like girls' clothes on them, skirts and stuff. Like it's just kind of. Is this supposed to be like comedy, or is it just a lot of creeps behind the camera that are like, let's see what we can get this Haim guy to continue to do?
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of creeps because there's like one scene in that movie where you see like full frontal in a girl's locker room.
Oh yeah,
like many a women. Like,
yeah.
I mean, we could have just insinuated all of this stuff. Did we really need is this supposed to be like a PG movie?
Yeah, like what is happening?
Like NC or
yeah.
What the hell?
R, baby. Rated R.
No matter what, all these movies
because of 10 seconds of 20 naked women.
And that's the thing. You're growing up watching these movies, and you have it in your head that they're just like these dirty movies. You know what I mean? Like growing up, I swear, "Oh What a Night" was like a big no-no movie, and I watch it now, and it's like the tamest thing of all time. But they just had to force nudity and stuff into both, especially on Feldman's side. But you know, they were doing it all the time for no damn reason. It seems it's so strange. But I mean, it doesn't. Like I said, I don't think it's one of the worst of the bunch. It's one of Corey Haim's strangest movies for sure.
Yeah, and this is kind of for me a weird tipping point for him. I don't know if him and Nicole Eggert had broken up at this point, because you don't see her, kind of anymore, I don't think. But this is where things kind of get a little bit rocky now from this 93 to 94, and I think he got back with Feldman again, and I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but then I think they did Last Resort next.
Oh yeah. Last Resort.
That was kind of was Last Resort one of those ones where they signed a 3-picture deal with a company or something?
I don't remember hearing anything about that. I know it was they had no idea that it was going to be a National Lampoon like low budget movie. Until like contracts were signed and everything. I know that much. And god damn, they have a few movies that can only be best described as saying fever dreams, and this is one of them, man. This is such a bizarre movie. I didn't realize until recently that it was written by Patrick Laborto, I think is how you say his name. He was Ram and Heathers. Right.
He did this?
Yeah, he's like, the big guy.
The big guy.
Yeah. He wrote that. He wrote this movie. It's insane. He's like the bad guy in Three Ninjas or whatever. Yeah, that guy.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's so great. Yeah.
I don't know. It's very low budget. I felt like it was very.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. This one kind of felt like it was. He was kind of losing at this point. I feel like he was losing those like leading role guy now, and now he's just gonna just mess around with Feldman for the next couple of years, I guess, and be a side character. That's what it felt like to me around this time.
For sure. It's
I don't know.
It's crazy. It's crazy to see because like they seem to be having a good time, but it's like how could you be enjoying yourself working like that? Because I talked to Eric Edwards, Eric Edwards. He's like the big guy in Problem Child.
Yeah.
He's in this. He has a small part, and I asked him about it. He was just like, "Dude," he's like, "That was probably like the lowest budget movie I've ever worked on." He said you showed up and people were rude, and it was just like a real pop-up production, and you can tell. It's a rough.
Now, wasn't this like a weird time where I was watching some stuff online about his career, and there was a point in time around this 90s where he was flip-flopping managers because people were screwing him over or they were giving him bad roles, and then I think there was a point in time where he's like, I'm gonna go be with Feldman's guy or whatever. Now, was this around the time where Feldman's manager was like, oh yeah, let's just get you guys back together and do this?
You know what? I don't know. I haven't heard that story. That's interesting. I need to look into that. That's news to me.
And I don't know if that's maybe why they ended up getting back to this. But yeah, this is a little bit. I was never the biggest fan of this one. I don't know. The next couple with them two together, I can't say.
Oh yeah. It's a rough movie to sit through. It's so weird that I kind of just convinced myself to like it. It's a strange story, strange movie.
Well, then he was able to get back. Oh, go ahead.
No, let's say the cool thing is they have that sweepstakes where you get the Island Adventure sweepstakes. So they made that commercial, that ad, the advertising.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Win a weekend with the two Coreys, and Jake Perry actually has one of the visors that was like second prize or whatever.
That's so funny.
He has so much cool shit. I love it.
That's why I need to get him on here to Jake Perry.
Oh man, he blew my mind with some of this stuff when I was over at his place. Oh, I'll let him. I don't want to ruin it. He needs to tell.
Actually, I think last time. Wait a minute. Drawn to Things couldn't be Jack Perry, right? I was gonna say last time he messaged me, he had like a drawer and he pulled it out. And it was just like,
oh, okay,
VHS tapes over and over again, like tons of, fast getaways, tons of Dream Machines. I was like, dude, what the heck is going on here?
Dude, that dude has like screen worn Lucas.
You
clothes.
Son of a bitch! It is you. I knew it.
Drawn to Things. That's funny because that Cynthia Rothrock story, Jake's the one that told me that. I didn't want to say it. So
way. I was like, this person that I don't recognize knows an awful lot about the stories. I hope they stop following my account. Oh my god. Light bulb moment just went off. Put two and two together. There he is. Hiding. So yeah, send me. I need all these VHS, man. Come on, you're going home. I think they're all at your house in Boston, so you got to get them. I'll drive up. All right, so we move from Last Resort, and he goes back to Fast Getaway 2.
Oh yeah,
I like Fast Getaway too.
Yeah, me too. It's
really
such a good movie.
Yeah, I almost like it better than 1.
Yeah, no, me too. I thought the same thing recently. I got the old OG cassette here. Yeah, I thought the same thing recently. Like, I don't like that it kind of sidelines Leo Rossi. I wish he was in more of it, but it still totally works. It totally works down. Haim and Sarah Buxton have some real chemistry. It's crazy.
They really do. I love what they have going on during that movie.
Yeah, and it's like, this Sarah Buxton had worked with Feldman twice by that point. And not much chemistry, between them two. So it's like, it's nice to see with the haimster and how he plays off of her. And then you got like the FBI guy come in. It's a little more wacky. And for it being a smaller production, I mean, it doesn't really show. It really doesn't. It works better almost as a movie. I think I agree.
Now, look at how much cooler this artwork is than the first one. Like, if they had this as like part 1, that would have probably sold the movie a hell of a lot more than that back there.
Yeah,
100%. So
that's cool. You got the laser disc.
Yeah. So when I knew I was going to meet her, I wanted something cool signed, and when I can usually meet somebody that had some kind of in with Haim, and I can get something where they're both on it, I always try to do that. Like I've got. Like I said, Nicole Eggert. I got the Meredith Salinger. I've got something else signed by somebody with Haim on it, but they signed it. I don't remember exactly what it is now, but
that's awesome.
Now I have that as well. So yeah, I try to do that kind of stuff for the haimster. But yeah, it's a really cool image. And when I saw the laser disc and was for a decent price, and they're easy to frame and stuff too. So
yeah,
I couldn't find a poster with that image on it. That's why.
Yeah, me neither.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I never found a poster.
Now, do you know much about this one? Like, was this a big flop? Like, really big at this point? Like, were people kind of like, yeah, Fast Getaway came out 3 years ago. Like, I don't care anymore.
Well, I remember watching this one again, like on just late night cable. For whatever reason, it was on a lot. This one doesn't really go a lot with the nudity, although there is, it's the 90s. You can have women in underwear and whatnot, but it all works. Haimster is like almost at the top of his game, I'd say, physically. Like he looks like an actual like real leading man here, and I don't think it would flop per se. I don't think they had much expectations for it, and to begin with. Again, it's Cinetel Films. I know that Haim definitely had a deal with Cinetel, so I'm guessing this was just him fulfilling it. But I do like that they do seem to kind of care still about these movies. Like if they didn't, then they would have just get a whatever director of whatever. Like they're getting legit action directors to do these movies. And that's why they work the way they do, This guy, I forget what his name is, Oli something. Oh man, I can't see it. But the guy that did Fast Getaway 2 did a whole bunch of other cool action movies. And so it's at least they spent the money where they needed to, I guess you could say. The one thing I think that this movie was lacking is like there's not really a big stunt, really, there's no cool song. Like there's no Brooke McCartney song. They should have just kind of mimicked what they did the first time, but I guess that would have made sense because that didn't really work. So, but I do love it. Like I do think it's probably a better movie than the first one.
Now, this one's interesting too because I have like when I first saw it, I was like, okay, I like it. Then I saw it again, I was like, I don't like it. And then I rewatched it again, and I was like, this is still okay. And that's The Dream a Little Dream 2.
Oh,
the movie itself is weird, right? But I feel like I love that cover. I love that cover. My cover's the worst.
Yeah.
The
weird.
It's a stupid one. Yeah, look at it.
You have the
the worst. Like at least Mel's looks like it goes with the original one. Yours is cool too with the under the bed one.
They're all pretty bad though. Like there's all really bad Photoshop work. Like they're just kind of superimposed there. Who's that?
Yeah, that almost looks like it's
yeah.
But I actually found myself liking this one a lot more the other day when I watched it. And you know what? I feel like Haim does really well in this. Like
he does, yeah. He really does. He has this he doesn't have much to do.
He's not, he's not in it a lot though.
He gets locked up at some point and he's just out of the movie. Like yeah, very bizarre movie. But he is good in it. And they don't feel like they're characters at all, maybe Dinger a little bit.
It almost seems like this is just watching the show The Two Coreys with like her sprinkled in. Or whatever.
He definitely feels like a completely different character than in the first one.
I absolutely love this movie though. This is like Feldman was like, all right, you want me in your movie? I got to do a song. I have to dance. Like if you want me,
he did the Michael Jackson thing again in the kitchen.
Yeah, I love it to go from that whole Dream a Little Dream dance in the beginning, and then part one, Meredith Salinger, to him in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's very weird, but I found it very odd that it felt so long after the first one, and they were still referring to the first one a lot, so it really was kind of funny that they were still referencing that movie a lot. But I'm also a huge fan of Robin Lively, so to see her in this was really cool.
Yeah.
Did she end up dating one of these two guys at one point? I think she did. Right?
Yeah. The story is that like she was with Feldman at first, and then Haim kind of took her away, but I think Robin just took to Haim. You know what I'm saying? And they were together for a while.
You would have chose
definitely.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously.
Well, you watched Blown Away and you made a decision. Is that what happened?
I feel like there's no decision to be made.
Okay.
Christmas Day, we're doing on Staunch TV. We're doing the Two Coreys Iceberg, and there's actually a segment dedicated to Robin Lively. So y'all can check that out. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Robin Lively. She's great in the movie. She seems to really be like, okay, I'm getting paid. Let's have some fun, Like Robin Lively, again, maybe at the top of her game. Jesus. But such a weird movie, very strange flick. It's kind of hard to describe this. Like you said, it takes place so much later after the first one. And it's like, hey, Coleman sent us these glasses.
Like, who the hell's Coleman? I was this old man that lived down the street.
It's like, huh? Like, wait, why did he do that? What?
Yeah.
So watching the first movie.
Odd.
Yeah, I like watching the first one. I'm not a big fan of the first movie, if I'm being honest. I love part two. But yeah, part one, I don't know what it is. I think it's just because it has like, I don't know what it is. Something about it just isn't my bag. But
who you controlling with those glasses on? He wants to know.
Man, I thought I was thinking that she was part of the wolf pack down there, and that she was kind of trying to infiltrate us. Maybe that's where Justin's
That's
at
so funny.
dealing with all that. But yeah, it's a very
I don't
silly
understand
movie.
what happens with that guy. It's like, hey, we got a show at this time. Then what does he do? Go to bed? Like what?
He's
what does he
literally
do?
active on Instagram right now.
Right now? Right now.
I'm like watching him just be active on Instagram.
Oh yeah, I see him. He's active right there. What the like what time? Like 10 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock your time, whatever I said. It doesn't mean like that's the time to go to bed. Like he told me to go to bed at 9.
And an interesting thing about Dream a Little Dream 2 is what you said Leo Rossi pops up in it.
Yeah.
On set of this, apparently, when they were filming that, Corey Feldman just ran and shot his scene in Redline with the exact same wardrobe. So it's pretty funny to see. Yeah, there's a scene in this where he gets in a fight with Chad McQueen. He's wearing the exact same the outfit that he's wearing on the cover of your DVD, not your horrible DVD, the other one.
Oh, Mel's.
This one?
Yeah. And then
yeah,
it's pretty cool. So it's like a real quick little cameo.
Wait, he's wearing this in that movie?
He's wearing that jacket, I believe.
Really?
I think so. Could be wrong.
Whoa.
But he's wearing the jacket that he's wearing in that movie, if that's not it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't have Redline at all. Does that have just the VHS?
I've seen a laser disc as well, but I've never seen a DVD, if I'm being honest. It's a weird movie. It's actually it's a fun, 90s car action movie. Michael Madsen.
I have a movie Redline, but I don't think it's that.
There's a lot of movies called Redline,
Okay.
yeah, but this was among the first one. This is the early 90s.
I'm looking at my stuff right now. Mel needs to get this for our collection, I think.
Oh boy.
She needs this Feldman movie.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, you need that one.
Do I?
There's a piece of trash.
Oh, okay. So I don't think based on Staunch's review, it doesn't
Is this
really
one hard to get? I don't know. This is one of those weird clam glass things. This is
hard dude, that is fucking cool. Oh man, that's beautiful.
Meredith Salinger and Feldman.
Yeah, that's hard to find.
It's got those.
Yeah, that's
that
hard
weird
to find.
Case like we were talking about earlier.
That's so cool.
Just the Corey movies have that weird case. It's like
yeah, right.
But yeah, Dream a Little Dream 2, I found it pretty good. I didn't think it was garbage.
Yeah.
It should have been at this point in time, 95. I thought he looked good. I thought he was great with his character that they, whatever he was there to do. He did that weird scene where he's like just, with that dude in jail. That was kind of weird, but
yeah,
it was fine. I actually liked it way better. And before this show, I watched Life 101 for the first time. I don't own it. I saw it on streaming, and I actually really liked it. I never even heard of it before, and I actually really liked it a lot.
Life 101, yeah, I don't have it on tape either. That one's real hard to find. I remember going to the video store, seeing it on the shelf. I was like, oh, new Corey Haim movie. Gotta rent that one. And I don't know. It's not. I mean, it's kind of a, in my opinion, just like kind of a whatever movie. Mm-hmm. When it comes to those coming of age college movies, like I don't think Life 101. It seems a little. I don't know if low budget's the wrong word. It's like the production maybe just was a little off. I don't know. It is a kind of an odd movie to me. Corey Haim doesn't really seem checked in. But I don't know if that's because he wasn't or if it's the editing or something. It was a little off to me. And how I think he's like the nerdy guy and
so basically it reminded me a little bit of like Can't Buy Me Love, like in the sense where he was like this really dorky guy, and then all of a sudden chicks start to get into him, so he kind of becomes a little bit of like the cool guy. And this was the first time we started to see him, in his relationship with Amy Dolan's come in to play, where they start working together for quite a few movies after this. And it's funny because she looks so much like Nicole Eggert, like it's wild to me, like how much they look alike. And that's where he basically went to with his next, for long term, I guess, relationship
Yeah.
was he had Eggert and now he's on Amy Dolan's. And I'm like, they look so similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was in this one and she kind of played the same role. She was like a nerdy girl that, they fell in love. And I don't know. I thought it was better. Like for a movie that I never heard of before, it really won me over because I figured like, the coolest thing is to find a movie that you never knew existed and be like, oh God, why haven't I seen this? Especially watching all these Haim movies throughout my life. I don't know why that passed me by, but I thought it was pretty solid for a movie later in the 90s like that, where he was kind of, starting to check out for sure.
Yeah, it's based on a book. It was, I want to say the guy that wrote the book also directed the movie, if I'm not mistaken. And it's kind of like an autobiography. He was Corey Haim's character, I do like Keith Coogan in it. I think he really tries his best.
Smells boy.
Yeah, but
he had a weird role in this though, Coogan. I wasn't sure if he was wearing a wig or like if that was his hair. It was like a weird role for him.
Yeah,
it was like kind of like semi-adult Coogan. Like it was playing a college kid. It was strange. Yeah.
Of all the characters he's ever played, I actually liked his character in this.
Like the weird hippie guy or whatever?
Yeah, he's kind of like a weird hippie who's giving him advice.
Yeah.
They kind of screwed him over in the end. It was interesting. It was an interesting character arc for him. I kind of appreciated it.
I talked to Keith for my Don't Tell Mom Babysitter's Dead and Toy Soldiers video, whatever, some years back. And I asked him about this. I was like, hey, what was it like, in Life 101 working with Corey? And he's like, oh, man, we had a great time making that movie. Bummer it didn't do well, whatever. He was like, and I just feel, he's like, I've always felt for Corey Haim after that because he said, like, it was so obvious that he was going through it, and that he kind of kept to himself the whole production, didn't really talk to anybody. He said at one point they had to like try to get him out of his trailer, So it's like those demons, they weren't going away. And I feel
wild
I
because
feel
you would have
like
never expected it watching the movie. He didn't seem off really. Like he felt
He doesn't
pretty
seem
checked
off.
in,
Yeah, he doesn't seem off, but I think it's maybe because we never really seen him play a character like that, to where I just get a weird vibe from it. But it's like we never seen him do that really, not play like the nerdy outside of Lucas, you know what I mean? But it's an interesting role for Corey Haim, that's for sure. And I do think Amy Dolan's is really good in it too.
Yeah, this is another movie where I watched it, and because it was my first time watching, I was thinking to myself, geez, there's a lot of unnecessary, like, why are all these college dudes like hanging out in their underwear? Like, I was like, a really weird to me.
Why not? All of these movies have unnecessary lady nudity. Why can't be dudes in underwear?
It just, to me, I'm just thinking about, like, who's the director that's like, okay, guys, you guys are going to run around the dorm in your underwear, and then you're going to go hang out in the dorm room, but, like, keep your clothes off while you're just, like, chatting away. And I'm thinking, what group of guys in college do this? Like,
all covered in cream and shit. Like, oh god,
just hanging out, cream on,
and between that,
I
always think that because Keith Coogan also in Toy Soldiers, just a scene where he's just walking around in his tidy whities for no reason. It's like,
it was a little bit.
Yeah,
I always thought I thought it was a little bit risque. Coogan in his undies.
What?
So
no,
the collecting movies with Coogan in his undies. That's what you're into.
Of course I do. I have a whole collection.
Oh my god!
Horrifying.
So we're starting to get towards the tail end. We're getting to the late 90s here now with Life 101, and then we get into Demolition High. You get into the Demolition series here. Starts in 96 where he plays Lenny Slater.
Oh yeah.
Demolition High, I actually thought this was fine. It's almost like they tried to take Fast Getaway and kind of just do the same thing in a way, like just start a new little franchise of him as the action guy. And I have a really shitty DVD. This, I don't even know what this is. This is like Haim, like from the 80s on this cover for some reason.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, that doesn't even look like him in the movie.
He's like little kid Haim right here.
It's straight up Haim from License to Drive.
Oh, you
that's
can
that
see
License to Drive poster.
That plastic case.
Yeah.
Super weird. Yeah, and it's got like, I don't know where that Dolan's picture is coming from too, but not this movie. But yeah.
His
And then,
haircut in Demolition High is just horrendous.
On Demolition High on the tape, he is not on the cover. He's not on the spine. He's not on the back. His image is nowhere on this thing. It's like, what is this? I don't get it.
Bowl hair.
But
I don't know what.
That's beautiful.
That's very different for him, for sure. Like that's not the normal Haim that we usually
I could not. The whole time I was watching that movie, I was just staring at his head the whole time.
I wonder why he decided to do that, because he had never, his hair was always up, right? So it was interesting.
They were really going for something in that movie, because his whole outfit was kind of weird too. He had like spiky leather cuffs on his wrists and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they were trying to do.
I mean, I think Demolition High is pretty good. It gets way more violent than I thought it was. Like out of nowhere, there's just like bursts of violence, and like that dude slides into the saw. You know what I mean?
Saw,
like
yeah. No, the movie itself is good, but whoever was doing the styling on set was interesting.
Yeah, it's a Jim Wynorski movie, I believe. So all bets are off. Like when it comes to that dude. So it is cool though. I much prefer it to the sequel, that's for sure.
Yeah, Demolition High, I thought that was better than the sequel for sure. In '96 he did another movie that I've never seen, man. I don't even know if it's available. It's called Never Too Late. I don't know. I don't have it. I've never seen it. I couldn't find it on streaming.
This thing's hard to find right there. Got it on tape. Man. It's pretty cool. It's available. I thought it was when I bought it, but no, it's not. They got me.
So minty though.
Yeah, it is. It's nice, and it's for free on YouTube actually. It's worth the watch. It's very much like an old lady movie, you know.
That's for me.
It's cool though. It's like there's like
get your rocking chair like.
It's interesting though, because like it's kind of like we're not too old to handle business kind of movie. It's like these ladies take stuff into their own hands, and Corey Haim here, he plays an actor, like a young theater actor, and it's kind of a juxtapose between because it was funny because in Life 101, Corey Haim's walking around quoting Shakespeare, kind of that typical like dork or whatever, and in this one. Corey Haim's character is doing a stage play of Romeo and Juliet, the S&M version. So that's the joke. Like it's him and he has his hair did up like he's, like in Sushi and the Banshees or something. And he has all this leather gear on, and it's literally an S&M Romeo and Juliet. And they go and watch him do his play, and it's a haimster like you've never seen before if you haven't seen this movie. And he's not in it too much, but like basically the old lady's kind of like, oh hey, we need this scam to get what we want. And how do they do that? They get Corey Haim to help them, so he's able to play characters and stuff. So at one point he pretends to be a doctor to help him out, and it's pretty cool. It's a cool role that Corey Haim got. That someone really had a lot of trust in him, because it's a legit drama. It's like a movie. It's not like a silly thing, And when Corey's on screen, he's not lost on screen with Olympia Dukakis and Cloris Leachman. It's like he's playing off them as good. He has as much chemistry with them as he did with Nicole Eggert. Maybe not that much, but close. But it's nice to see that he can still hold his own in this more mature movie. While even though they're making him do some pretty wacky stuff, it's worth the watch.
Wild. I would love to hear what they thought of him behind the scenes.
Oh, I know. Yeah, there is no info on this movie. I can never find anything on this thing. I found this tape on a random lot on eBay. Some guy had like 4 or 5 tapes in a box for like $20. It was like some golf instructional videos or something, and this was just in there. I was like, oh shit, got it.
It's like some golfers buying all my shit.
Yeah, and as soon as I started buying these movies, Corey Haim Central on YouTube is a great channel. They have a lot of these movies uploaded on there.
Nice.
Well, it brings us to the next one, which is a little of a weird movie in that Snowboard Academy. With Ernest and Brigitte Nielsen back in with Haim. Did her and Haim hook up because she was in 2 movies with him?
Oh man, I hope not.
You got with Brigitte Nielsen or not? Maybe
Brigitte
she thought
Nielsen
he was the next Stallone. That's why she got.
Yeah, Brigitte Nielsen she did the rounds. She was in She's Too Tall with Corey Feldman too. Oh,
Oh really? I never saw that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Good luck. It's bad.
Snowboard Academy. I mean,
has a lot of charm. I do love Snowboard Academy.
Haim doesn't have a really great role in it, I don't think. But I think Jim Varney's basically it's just Ernest on a snowboard. Basically, he's like
it's so good.
Talks a little bit more.
You got Joe Flaherty. You got Joe Flaherty. And it's another Canadian production. Corey Haim was just kind of hanging out. It is always cool to see Corey Haim do something. He always does his own stunts when it comes to the athletic stuff, whether it's rollerblades or skiing or whatever. He did his own parallel parking and license to drive. And so they go out of the way. They go out of their way.
That's a fun little factoid.
Yeah. So they go out of their way to show that. You know what I mean? They're like, hey, if Corey's going to be on skis, let's show him moving around a little bit, So it's like it's good to see that maybe it was filmed at a resort. Maybe he was just kind of chilling. Like he doesn't have much to do, and you don't get any negative vibes off him or nothing. So it's cool. And they put him on the cover,
Yeah, for sure. So as we kind of get through some of these last few, we can talk about this one at the end, but in '96 he did a movie Shooter on the Side, and you said, and even on Wikipedia and stuff like that, it's basically black. Like it's almost like it doesn't exist. And that's what's kind of the story on that you know.
Well, I talked to the director about that, and there's a trailer out there, and my friend Steven Mason, he lives like overseas, he found a clamshell to the tape without the tape in it. And we have no idea if that was like a bootleg or where that came from. It's so weird. But the movie never came out. I talked to the director. He said he has a copy somewhere, like on a reel, and he has to render it and all this and that. And he was like, oh, why do you want to see it? It's not even that good, He's like, I just did it as a favor. It was just like a real schlocky production. He was talking real down about it. He's like, yeah, there was some overseas deals made, and the movie just had to be shot to fulfill an obligation. He's like, I have no idea what happened after. All he knows is that there was a few reels and they came out all messed up, scratchy, and just blown out. And he says, I don't know where that trailer came from, but it looks like it came from those reels. And he just really seemed to not care about any of it. And I was like, well, hey, you think I can get a copy of the movie like sometime? He's like, yeah, I'll try, whatever. And I never heard from him again. So the movie never came out. It looks like it has some potential, if you're asking me. I mean, it is like the last Corey Haim movie that I know of that hasn't seen the light of day. Up until recently, that Merlin movie he did in the 90s was lost. And we managed to uncover that one, even though it had some horrible dubbing. But even that link is dead now. So it's like, I don't know what's going on.
So that has no physical release, Merlin, right?
As far as I know, I've never seen anything on that flick, man. I've never seen any official posters or
because you figure around that time they would have really tried to, play on that whole thing, because there was a Merlin movie that was in theaters, right?
Yeah, there was that miniseries with Sam Neill and Mark.
That's what it was.
But there was like 2 or 3 other Merlin properties, just because you know how it works in Hollywood. It's like, oh, there's this big budget Merlin that's royalty free. Let's do one ourselves.
Yeah, because I mean, there was a lot of stuff around that time that was kind of getting over. Things like what's the chick one that Xena and all that other shit was like?
Oh
big,
yeah, like for sure.
So they probably
Robin Hood. And I watched it, man. I watched the whole Merlin movie with those dubs just because I have to see it every Corey Haim movie I can, and it was actually pretty cool. I mean, that's not really my thing, but it wasn't horrible. So it's like, I don't know why. Like I'm waiting for the day when someone manages to just own all these movies and re-release them, because there is a rabid fan base out there.
I mean, think of the box sets we got right here, man. I mean, it's big. You know,
Yeah.
it's a big
Yeah,
box
no.
set right here.
For
So
real.
as we kind of finish this off, because we're still gonna do a quick ranking. We're gonna fly through the ranking.
Okay.
But this is fucking busted, dude. Like, I don't know. I can't do it, really.
Yeah.
This is
I think this is the last two Corey's movie, if I'm not mistaken.
I guess so.
The
Feldman had to
last-
fire his ass, so I assume it's probably the
Yeah.
last.
I mean, there's such a dirty history behind this, I feel, you know.
Oh yeah, even with that dude that's in it.
Yeah, with Dominic Braccia, and
Oh yeah, like
it's
that's
like
weird,
I always say, like, I've seen interviews where Feldman's saying, like, yeah, you know, I was still hanging out, he's still my friend. He's like, probably, you know, retrospect, not a great idea. He's like, you know, it's hard for me to blame anyone for this stuff, but that just seems a bit too, like, come on, man. You know?
Yeah, like, hey, I'm gonna do a movie, and you both are gonna be cops. Like, you know what I mean? It's like very weird.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and then you were saying earlier, like, who's directing these movies? Why is everyone naked? And he directed this movie.
Yeah.
So we got Corey Feldman directing a movie for the first time with the most nudity, like more nudity than all their movies combined at this point. In this bizarre spoof movie, it is a spoof, you know, like,
yeah, it even says that it's like, oh, if you like Airplane and Naked Gun, it's like in the same ballpark.
And there's some gags in there. Like, I laughed a few times. It's just such a hard movie to get through. The narrative is all over the place. It has one of my favorite scenes with Corey Feldman, though. Like, when there's just the two girls gratuitously showering and he just pops up between them. He's like, yeah, I'm directing this.
Yeah, he's like, that was fun and blown away. Let me do something else for this.
Yeah. Oh my god. And the weird thing is, I've seen something else with him. I can't remember what it is, but like, that was his thing, I guess. I don't know, man. It's
probably Hooking Up's got some of those scenes in there with him.
Maybe, yeah. It was. I can't remember what it was, but there's a very similar scene, and it's so strange, man. And the weirdest part about this, or maybe not the weirdest, but one of the weird things about Busted is it's like a police spoof movie, and Feldman did that. He was in a Loaded Weapon 1 as a cop, like, he had a cameo in that movie, so he had already been in a spoof movie where he played a cop.
So do you think he was trying to make like a spinoff, basically? Like,
yeah, it's like, why did you make Busted? Is this supposed to be the same guy or what? It's weird. But I feel like there's a reason, dude. Like, there's a reason Busted is long gone and no one Feldman doesn't talk about it, you know. I think everyone's just kind of ashamed to have anything to do with that movie.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's even
sit there and say this is one to check out because it sucks.
It's under CFI Productions, which is Corey Feldman's thing, and now it's Sci-Fi. He added a whole other letter to it. It's like, he's distance yourself from Busted.
Well, we see him again this year, and he's in a horror movie called Fever Lake. With Mario Lopez.
Oh yeah.
So you get the Haimster together with Slater. It's sick. Again, I don't mind this movie.
It's a lot of fun.
Okay with it. I think it's definitely worth checking out. It feels very 90s.
Yeah.
But I was fine with it. I thought it was solid enough. It was cool to see him kind of back into the horror element again. It's been a while.
Yeah. It was definitely made for the video store shelves, like nothing more than that. And watch it on a late night, like on a late October night, it'll suit you well.
Yeah, so
interesting enough.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of the rough, brief history of his movies in the 90s, but there's a couple things I wanted to ask you about since we have you here. I've heard a lot of stuff around this time where people really were pushing for him to get back out there. We saw that with like the action hero thing and trying to get him to be the next action star and the Me, Myself, and I, and people were really trying to help him. Like, they knew that he was special and that he was great at what he did. And unfortunately, he just had those demons that he couldn't shake. And the big one that I always think to myself, like, man, this could have really changed his career was Robin. He was almost Robin in Batman Forever. And Schumacher was like, let's do it. And then unfortunately he came in and they said he was a mess and they had to take him out. They replaced him with O'Donnell, and that's history. He had a background character in like the biker gang or whatever, and that's it. But I mean, man, like that could have changed everything for him.
Could have, yeah. It really could have changed the game. It could have put him back on the map at least. I mean,
oh yeah. I mean, that's kind of the same story with and this guy wasn't into drugs, I don't think at all, but like Jonathan Brandis. Like I remember seeing something where he was putting all his chips on his career to be Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars. Oh, yeah. And he was right there at the end. Basically, he thought he had the role and this was going to get him back in the spotlight and, reinvigorate his career. And they gave it to Hayden Christensen. And then all of a sudden, a couple months later, he hung himself. And, people always wonder if it really had to do with that.
Brandis really was killed it.
Yeah, I mean, think about how cool that would have been, and I mean, I thought Christensen did fine, but like, it just would have been really neat to see someone like that come back.
Would have been on another level.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like Brandis was really getting a lot of stuff back then with like some of the movies he did, like Ladybugs and stuff. And then he was on Sequest, which I feel like was a pretty popular show at the time. And he seemed like he was, but I don't know whatever happened with him. Like, he didn't seem like he was getting into bad shit. I don't know.
I think it was just, depression, really. It's that, what can you say? Who knows, right? But I think Jonathan Brandis' biggest flaw was that he stayed on Sequest too long. He should have ducked out and done some movies or, because I mean, he was just a TV guy too long back when that wasn't a good thing,
Like, because he was because I mean, that was a pretty big hiatus, like after Sidekicks and Ladybugs, and he went to Sequest, and it's like, I don't remember him in any of the movies at that point.
Not really, no. And it's like, same thing with Haim, man, Brandis, like, it must have been so, like, way harder than we can ever imagine for those dudes. But damn, if they would have stuck it out, stuck around, like, Haim would have came back, 100%. Haim, someone would have put him in a great movie. Seth Green, in that interview, he said that he told Corey Haim, like, hey man, like, stop, like, maybe the leading man thing's done, like, why don't you try doing, and his recommendation to him was do a Donnie Wahlberg in Sixth Sense, do a John Ritter in Sling Blade. Like, take a smaller role where you play like this specific character and get it back on people's radars, and he never really got around to doing that. He kind of does that in Never Too Late. That's why I really like that movie. He kind of plays like a low-key role where he really shines. But it's like something would have came, man. I always think, like, whenever I watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I was like, Corey Haim should be Brad Pitt's character in this, man, straight up.
It is. That
would have been so cool.
It is interesting to see, like, if it just he could have just, even with Lost Boys too, like, if they would have given him a shot, he could have took it and ran with it and like been in the whole movie with Feldman or whatever. Like, I think that could have probably helped him out, but unfortunately, it didn't work. And the same thing with Robin. And someone messaged me today and said that he was also supposed to be in another couple big movies and it didn't work out. I don't know if you know anything about this or even if Jake's still in here. Somebody messaged me today and said that he was supposed to be Universal Soldier. I don't know how true that is or what his role would have been in that. And they also said that he had said something about him being Green Lantern for something.
Oh, damn. That would have been
awesome. Don't know what anything about that, but that's a couple of messages I got today that people were like, oh, did you know? And I was like, no, I didn't know either of that.
So, oh, wow. Yeah.
Again, it seems like some role could have really, helped him. And I can remember it was a big deal when he got put in Crank 2. And like you said, it kind of was like, had like a side role, right? It was like, like a type piece. And
yeah, he was badass. That's the reason I went and saw that movie. He was like, oh shit,
the reason I own it.
That's the only Corey Haim movie I got to see in theaters,
That's funny
too. Yeah.
So
Jake has that costume too, man. Jake has that.
Is the costume?
Randy the Hick, the boots and everything. Son of a bitch.
Damn. Damn.
Yeah.
Also, he says he's never heard any of that. He'll look into it about Universal Soldier and Green Lantern. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I
for
didn't
sure.
either until I got a message today about it.
I never heard that. It's interesting.
But all right, so I'm looking at my list right here, and we can get Shooter out of the side out of here. But like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 movies here. I think. Is it Mel? Do you have 16 in there?
I'm gonna start at 12 because I haven't seen the other.
Yeah, well, that's what I did. I put all the ones I haven't seen at the top. So really, I would have a bunch of other ones. But we can kind of run around the horn or whatever and just start throwing out there some rankings from least to best. We talked about all these, so there's not much we have to say. If you guys are still with us, thank you guys for listening to us chat about this Corey Feldman saga of the 90s. But having Staunch on here has been cool because like it's been able to give a little more insight on a lot of this stuff and his career and stuff.
Man.
And it's super interesting to me to learn about it because I'm a huge fan of him. I always was. And I always, it always just really, it's interesting to me to just kind of find out why this puzzle was never put together and why we were never able to kind of make it work and whatnot. Oh, so Jake's gonna actually wear that get up on Christmas, I think he said. So that's
oh damn, dude, do it.
That's cool. So if you guys are here still hanging with us or you're watching the replay, hit that like button right now. It's an easy way to support the show. You can also go follow Mel at My Killer Podcast, follow Staunch Man on Staunch TV, and we're gonna get into our 90s Haim ranking and maybe just talk a little bit about our opinions about some of these movies. We'll fly through this thing. I can start. We'll go to Mel, then we'll go to you. Least to best. My last one, and again, if I'm not going on anything I haven't seen, my last one is going to be Busted. That's what he said too.
I know. That's why I was laughing. He was just like,
oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's going to be my last on this list here. What do you got for us, Mel? And you haven't seen Busted? Or you
I haven't seen Busted, so my last one is Blown Away. I mean, that's not a surprise.
Oh, come on. You didn't like that one?
Yeah.
No. It's cringe. It's cringy to me.
I got Busted last as well, my man.
Well, now I feel like I need to see it. So
I was going to say, I was going to say, like, watch, because we're saying how bad it is, Mel's going to be like, I kind of want to watch it.
I kind of want to watch it now.
All right. My second to last is going to be Last Resort is going to be my number, whatever, 16 or whatever, second to last, I guess. I don't know how many we're doing here, but that's going to be my second to last.
Do you want me to keep going? My list is shorter than your guys'.
It's all right. Well, you can finish early.
Okay. Fever Lake.
Okay.
Oh, I think I'm gonna have to put Life 101 there, honestly.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Yeah. if I'm being real with myself.
All right. I will go.
Didn't feel the charm of that one. Huh?
It's going to be Snowboard Academy.
Oh, shit.
Poor Ernest.
Poor Ernest. Poor Ernest.
How are you going to do him like that?
Come on,
I don't like that. You move that one up the list.
You don't like Ernest here?
No.
Oh, what do you got? What do you got now?
Just one of the girls.
All right. All right.
Yeah, I think I gotta go with Demolition U right there.
Woo.
Yeah.
Oh, Demolition U you put now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not enjoy that movie at all. Yeah.
These rankings are tough.
Because I was gonna put Demolition High next.
Oh, really? Yeah. See, I definitely enjoyed Demolition High more than Demolition.
Yeah, I was gonna say you put that over you.
I liked you. I thought use the one where at the beginning he's a football player, right? And then they go on the bus.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
he proceeds to like barely be in the movie though for most like
Yeah, but they're
he
like in
doesn't
a
do too
cave
much.
for the
Is
rest
Amy
of the
Dolan's
movie.
movie?
Or
Yeah.
something. In
Yeah.
an underground
Amy Dolan's
factory or some crap.
yeah, a lot of the movie takes place amongst the older characters. It's a weird choice. I don't know.
Beach.
Oh wait, is it my turn?
Yes.
Demo you.
All right, we're not too far off. Let's see. And I would go there to Last Resort for sure.
All right, what am I gonna go with here? I'll go Blown Away.
That's a good place.
I can only watch him and her do that so many times. I'm gonna have to bring it down a little bit now.
Demolition High was my next one.
Okay.
Okay. I'll go Blown Away as well.
All right.
For sure.
Demolition U. Coming on in.
All right. And we're not too far off. Huh?
No.
We're around there.
Dream a Little Dream 2.
Okay. I think, let me see. I'll go Never Too Late right there because, yeah, it doesn't have enough to do in that flick for me to justify not putting it any lower.
All right, it's getting tough now. I'll go Fever Lake.
Okay, so just so you guys know, I'm at number 7.
Okay.
It's Double O Kid.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm with you on Fever Lake.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Dream a Little Dream 2 is going to be my next pick.
All right.
Mine is Life 101 at number 6 because I did really like that one.
And I got Dream Machine on that one.
Nice. What is this? South Beach Academy? I don't know what this is. Do you know what this is?
That's a Corey Feldman movie.
Oh yeah. Okay. So we're not doing Fell Dogs there.
Yeah.
All right. My next one's gonna be Life 101. I don't have that physical copy though.
Yeah, me neither. I'll go.
Oh wait, is it my turn?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so at number 5 is Dream Machine.
Okay, definitely not too far off. And I think I'm gonna go Double O Kid right there.
Oh wait, that was my number 4. Sorry.
Dream Machine.
Yeah.
Okay, these are all pretty good now. I'll say Dream Machine is my next pick as well.
Okay, Fast Getaway 1. Oh yes. Oh yes.
I'm gonna go. I'll put Dream a Little Dream 2 right there. I got more love for that one.
Yeah, that one's way up there for you, huh? I can't believe I'm looking at my thing now and I'm like, am I gonna keep this here? I'll go Just One of the Girls. My next pick.
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty high up there.
Hmm.
Mine was like at the bottom.
Well, because of that scene in the locker room scene won me over.
Oh, okay.
Moved it up north, yeah.
I reminded you of the locker scene, and you were like, bottom.
I split it.
top.
Yeah, I split it.
Okay, I got you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
I put rewatch and put it over on the side.
He's like, I know what I'm watching after this. Okay, so my number 2, Fast Getaway 2.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, I got
You
Just
really
One of the
hit home.
Girls there.
Wow,
too.
that's at your number 2, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I started at 12. You
No,
guys
I know,
started
but
at
I'm
15.
surprised it's so
Yeah,
low.
I really liked that.
yeah.
That one was really good. I think Haim did really, really good.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that one because I didn't rewatch it this week, and I haven't seen that one in a couple of years, so I'm gonna rewatch it.
It's on YouTube as well.
I agree with everything Staunch said about that one. Haim did a really, really good job in that one.
Yeah. Yeah, and I put just one of the girls there as well, man.
Okay. I'm gonna go Fast Getaway 2 is my next pick, unless I rewatch this and it moves up the ladder. But I like this movie a lot. It's just I haven't seen it in so long. I know he just seems a lot older in this one too. Like I think you guys said his look had changed a lot. I don't know if that was like due to just getting older and maturing more, or if he was on a lot of drugs and started to change his appearance. I don't know. But yeah, I want to get that one a rewatch because out of all the ones that are on my final 4, that one I did not watch this week.
His look changed, but I don't think he looked like a lot older or a lot worse. He just looked different than the first one to me. But I think he looked great in it.
Yeah, well, I feel like he looks like, even just looking at the cover, I feel like he looks older.
No, he doesn't look like he does in the cover in the movie, I didn't think.
Oh, he doesn't look as jacked.
He's
like even when you watch the Fast Getaway, the trailer that I put, when he was walking around talking, he even looked older than he did. I felt like in Fast Getaway.
Yeah, for sure.
That was like probably like a year later kind of thing.
He's very baby faced in Fast Getaway.
Yeah, I would say give it a rewatch.
I will. I'm probably watching
for sure.
It's a goodie. Okay.
Right.
So my number one.
Sure.
Shocker. Prayer of the Rollerboys.
Oh yeah.
There you go. And I'll put "Oh What a Night" right there.
Woo. All right, my number 3. I'll be done before Staunchy. It'll be 00 Kid. Told you that one moved up my ranking this week after the rewatch. All right, Mel's done. What do you got, Staunch?
Demolition High right there.
Okay. Wow, both of you put that above you, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right, my number 2 is going to be Fast Getaway. What is that noise?
Yeah, I'm going to put definitely Fast Getaway.
How many do you have left, Staunch?
I think I have 2 more here.
All right, you can go, and then I'll do mine.
For sure. And then I got Fast Getaway 2.
Ooh.
And Rollerboys, number 1, of course.
Yeah.
Number 1, Rollerboys.
Yeah.
You got to go Rollerboys.
We all picked Rollerboys as
Definitely.
number 1 of the 1990 Corey Haim movie. So, guys, you got to watch this one. You got to find it. I don't know if this is streaming or if it's just on YouTube. I don't recall seeing it on streaming when I looked, but very cool movie, and it definitely deserves some love, I think, from somebody. We did something in the physical media community a while ago about creating your dream box set, and I did a Corey Haim 90s box set.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at some of this now, I'm kind of like, man, like, even just the action ones, getting like Rollerboys, Getaway, the Getaways, Dream Machine, 00 Kid. Like, you can build a whole friggin' Haim action box with all these movies that just don't have any new releases. It's wild.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's insane.
Guys. So, again, I think that it's a really overlooked time for him when it comes to his movies. They're not the blockbusters we're used to, but man, we talked about a lot of these, and there was not many that I was like, I can't stand this movie. There's something about him that I feel like just brings a lot of charm to a lot of these movies, and I definitely think you guys, if you listen to this, should check some of these out.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I said, I'm gonna go definitely try to hunt down Never Too Late. I'm also gonna try to hunt down or rewatch Fast Getaway 2. And definitely fun talking about this. What do you guys think?
I definitely found some gems that I didn't know about.
Busted?
So that was fun. Yeah, Busted.
Busted?
Will be one of those hidden gems that I'm happy that I found.
Yeah, Vinegar Syndrome, Fever Lake would be a cool one for them too, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, guys, thanks so much for having me on. I can talk about this stuff all day, and I have nobody to talk to about it really. So, I mean, I love doing this.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for being here. I mean, I wish Justin could have been here too.
Same.
I don't know where the
Wolfpack.
dude is because you guys known each other before I even knew Justin.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can't even remember. I think Justin hit me up. From what I remember, he was just watching Staunch TV and just kind of, that's how we just kind of met up like that. And now, like, I'm struggling to keep my channel afloat, and so, like, I'm very proud of you guys that are out there killing it, man. Like,
oh man,
for
you're
real.
doing great. I still watch your stuff, man. I just watched the Merlin video you did. I watched. I listened to the podcast. I just listened to.
Oh, awesome!
You did the Watchers and you did the Feldman ones. What do you do? Splatter?
Oh, Splatter. Yeah.
Yeah. So I listened to that as well. So yeah, I try to catch it, you know, my rides to work and stuff like that. So I appreciate it because, again, anybody who's given the Corys some love, especially the Haimster, I appreciate, because like you said, there's not many people that care about that kind of stuff and have any kind of, like, you know, nostalgia with the Haimster like I do. So it's always cool to kind of hear about that. And yeah, I do wish Justin could have been here and talked about this stuff, because I know there was a lot of Haim movies that he hasn't seen, and, you know, to get him kind of on board, I think he would have liked some of these, and, you know, just to kind of keep Haim out of his mouth, I think would be just the best idea, you know. We already know he's already feuding with Feldman, so we wanted to. But A-Dub brings up Double Switch, man. I have every version of Double Switch. Like, I have it for, they even just did a recent one for PlayStation 4. A re-release that I bought because it's the Corey Haim video game, So
I need to get that. I don't have a copy of any of those yet.
Oh, really? It's a cool game, man. He looked so good in the game too. Like, it was like mid-90s, but he looked so healthy in the game, like his character and stuff, and he did really good in that game. It's just so funny to think that there's a video game from the 90s that he was like the main character. It was wild.
Yeah, like, what the hell? It's so crazy. Yeah. But I'd love to get you guys a 2 Corey's Forever podcast sticker. Just send me an address on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
For anybody listening, check out the 2 Corey's Forever podcast. We got a new episode on Haimster's birthday. That's the 23rd. We're covering what I consider to be one of Corey Haim's best movies ever, Without Malice. And it's Corey Haim's birthday, but we're covering Corey Feldman's film, The Birthday, as well. So
that's have you seen it yet?
Yeah. I saw that flick a few years ago. I found a copy on a late night search, but it's been re-released HD and all that. So I mean,
is it okay or no?
The Birthday? Yeah, The Birthday's pretty sweet, man. It's something you'd never think Feldman would do. And he's really good in it too. Like, it's not the rumors are true, you know, like, he's really good in it. It's a one of a time performance from Corey Feldman. It's such a weird movie.
And it was filmed when?
I believe they shot that early 2000s. That must have been 2001 or something, 2000
it's
maybe.
Wild. Because I heard the first time I ever heard about this, I didn't know what the heck it was, because it was a couple of years ago. I think he was on a podcast and people were talking to him and they're like, "What do you think your best movie is? Gremlins or whatever, or Goonies or whatever?" And he's like, "Nah, my best movie ever, Birthday." And then everybody was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, it's probably my best movie I ever did was The Birthday." And everybody's like, "What's that?" He's like, it never came out. So then I remember watching hearing about this, and all of a sudden now I hear it's coming out, and I'm like,
oh, dude,
like bullshit, or is this really like a cool movie?
It's good, man. Check it out. I remember hearing about it on the 2 Corey's TV show. He gets a poster from it, like, and he's talking about it real quick, and then in his autobiography too, there's a whole chunk of it where he's talking about it. So it's definitely worth the watch. It's out there now. It used to be bitch to find, but now it's out there. So that's cool.
Hey, man, thank you so much for hanging with us all night, dude. Next time you're going to be on this thing, and safe travels. I know you said you were flying out tomorrow, but thank you for hanging with us all night. I appreciate that.
Jake Perry.
Yeah, PS4. Yeah, so I think they have this for Sega Saturn, Sega CD, and then a company Limited Run Games came out with it for PS4 like a couple of years ago. I think it was a very limited run. And yeah, I love the 2 Corey's show. I have bootleg DVD of the complete series of it, but yeah, I thought it was a fun show. It's cool to see them back together. And they were always fun too. Like, I don't really know what their relationship really was, because when I met them, they were fighting. The first time I met them, they were fighting because they were both at the same convention, because it was a Lost Boys reunion. But like literally, Haim and Feldman had to been separated the whole time. Like they couldn't be near each other, so they had to do separate panels. It was like the Frog Brother panel, and then Haim and the rest of the cast were like at a different panel. And I didn't know if it was legit or if they were just doing it for the show, because, you know, when you watch the two Coreys, it seems legit, but then you find out it was like semi-scripted. So they were in between seasons when I saw him for the first time, I think. So I think after I saw him, they did season 2 where they like met in the diner. So I don't know if they were like in kind of like a fake fight, so they wanted to keep it real, or they really were fighting at that point. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know how much I could say or whatever. I'd say obviously ask the guy who would know. You know who I'm talking about. What I can say is that the most of that second season was legit. Like the big blowout, the big fight, all that. Pretty much, that part was real. Which is insane to think about.
So that scene in the diner where all that was exposed wasn't, hey, let's use this to expose this. This was like him saying it, and
maybe so. Like, more so whenever Haim storms off on that episode, all that was legit. I know that for sure happened. So there definitely was like some real animosity on the set. And as far as it being a scripted, silly show, that was kind of thrown out for that second season, you know. And I think there was some sketchy producers or something that prodding the flames or whatever, stoking the flames. So who knows, man? Hollywood dirty.
Yeah.
Also, it was real. He said around that time.
Okay.
I wonder if they were fighting over Lost Boys. I don't remember how it all worked out. Maybe I don't remember, but that was the first time I met. They were definitely separated. This was probably like, if I had to guess, maybe 2000, I don't know, 7. If I had to guess, I don't know, I forget. But yeah, it was definitely a weird situation during that weekend because Haim was with Brooke and all the rest of the guys, and Feldman was just with Newlander and Susie was there too.
Susie.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. But why don't you guys plug some stuff first? Melski, plug away, kid.
I'm Mel from My Killer Podcast. I have nothing to plug.
You can find you where
take it away.
All socials.
Yep.
Okay.
You can follow Staunch TV over on Instagram at staunch_TV. Send me a message. I'll send you a free 2 Corey's Forever podcast sticker. You can follow the 2 Corey's Forever podcast on Spotify or on my YouTube channel. You can watch my documentary, Forever, The Untold Story of Rock and Roll High School Forever, right now for free on Staunch TV. I also did one with director's commentary where I go way in depth with all of that. You can see the documentary I helped edit, which is Jake Perry's Corey Feldman, artist, the man behind the love, available on Corey Feldman's box set right now. You can go get that, and you can join me for the rest of a very Corey Christmas over on Staunch TV. We got all kinds of stuff coming. Christmas Day, we have the 2 Corey's Iceberg Part 1. So it's happening over there. I would love to have you all as subscribers. Say hi.
Yeah, I mean, literally, this guy just said if you come say hi, he's going to send you a sticker. I mean, this guy's going to be mailing it out all afternoon. And he's like, hey, and then he's like, give me your address. Here comes the sticker.
Yeah, that's all I need.
I love it. But man, thank you so much for being here. And guys, you can obviously, if you're here watching this, you're on my channel. If this is stuff you're interested in, movies, nostalgia, collecting, you can hit that subscribe button. Follow me on all socials at Born to Be Rad. I'm also part of a podcast with this lovely lady by my side, Miss Mel, and we're part of the Radpack podcast, which you can find us on all audio platforms. And you can find us on the Radpack Pod YouTube channel. So if you want to go over there, subscribe to that channel. That's where we do all of our podcast episodes, but you get to watch the video format. We just did a real cool interview with Sean Whalen from People Under the Stairs. He just came out with a brand new movie called Crust, which is kind of like a little bit, I think it's going to be a cult classic, cult hit. And if you guys want to know a little bit more about that, and we talk about his journey from
awesome.
People Under the Stairs all the way to Crust. You guys go check that out. It was a fun time. And make sure to subscribe to that channel because one of our most popular episodes will be here, a week from today? Is that what it is?
Is it
next weekend? It's going to be Radpack Christmas, where we all buy each other gifts and we all open them live on the show, which is always fun to see what each other get each other. It's always a fun time. Justin got me baby toys last year for some reason. But we'll see what happens this year.
It was wonderful.
He hates when I say that. I was kidding. But Justin's our third member of our podcast who was supposed to be here tonight, but he fell asleep, I think. So he did not join us tonight. But yeah, definitely go check out the Radpack Pod on YouTube as well. And gang, thank you all for checking this out on live. Gang, thank you all for checking this out on the replay. The best thing you can do for this is hit that thumbs up and share it out. If you know anybody that's a big fan of the Haimster. And guys, this is Garrett from Born to Be Rad. And like always, stay rad and have a happy holiday.